to my channel. So, first things first, if you're new here, hey, how are you doing? You might as well go ahead and subscribe since you had clicked on this video. And if you're not new here, hey you guys, I know you've been waiting for a story time video forever, and I just never had anything crazy enough to tell you guys yet, but that's gonna change today, sweeties. So if you can't tell by the title already, this is the time when my boyfriend had a fiance. So if you're new to my channel, I do story times and I focus on natural hair videos. So whenever I do a story time video, I do change up names for the sake of, you know, the people who are involved. So if you know me personally, please do not comment the person's name in the comment section. That's not why I'm here. I'm just here to entertain you guys with this bizarre ass story. So we are going to call the guy Rob, and well, his fiance, well, ex-fiance is not really, well, she's a factor, but she's not really mentioned that much in this video because I just found out about her last week. So yeah, but anywho, so let's just get right into the story. Actually, no, before I actually do start the actual story, Rob, if you are watching this, is really no hard feelings against you, because I do care about you and your well-being, but you are a fucked up individual. I hope, and I do still pray for you, but baby, you fucked up. Not just with me, but with her. And I hope you are doing well, and may God bless you. Now on to the story. So, where should we start? So let's get some things pointed out. So, Rob was my high school crush. No one really knew that I had a crush on him besides probably one or two people, because one, he had a girlfriend at the time. Two, I was shy my freshman year and my sophomore year, which was the 2 years that we were in high school together. And three, because of who my sister was. So my sister made sure that none of her friends tried to pursue me while I was in high school. So that's why I never, you know, got the courage to talk to him in high school and everything like that. So let's start with the story. So as most of you guys know who have been subscribed for me for a long period of time, or if you know, follow me on social medias, they're down in the description box. Don't forget to follow me. But you know, I moved into my own apartment. My bra showing, I'm sorry. But I moved into my own apartment. So before I had moved into my own apartment, I was, staying with my ex before Rob, because, me and him were in a relationship. But when we broke up, we didn't want to break our lease because it was so costly for both our ends. So we just decided to live with each other and stay with each other up until the February that just passed. So February 2019. So I was, just getting into my, my career as a life insurance agent and everything like that. So I wasn't, really trying to focus in on having a boyfriend. I wasn't ready for one. I didn't want to have one at that point. I wanted to focus on trying to make sales and, try to keep my new apartment up. So, Rob hit me up in my DMs, and I will leave those receipts in this video because those are the only receipts that I have, due to the fact that he blocked me on Instagram, so I'm unable to see our conversation on there anymore. And when I found out about his fiance, I deleted the thread because I'm the type of person where I would go back and, you know, when I'm sad, I would reread text messages and everything like that, and I didn't want to put myself into more harm than what, you know, he had already caused me. So you know, he hit my DMs. I'm gonna leave those receipts here. And, you know, I was basically telling him, you know, well, not in, you know, this particular screenshot, but like when he started texting me, I told him, you know, I'm not trying to get into a relationship or anything like that. I'm not ready and everything of that nature. So, you know, he was okay with it or whatever. Not really. But you know, we just started texting, and then, you know, I started telling him about myself and everything like that, and he started telling me about himself. And what makes this situation, you know, like so messed up, as you can see, you know, in the screenshots, I told him specifically that I only attract men with girlfriends or fiancés. I've also told him that I do suffer from depression, anxiety, and that I have a personality disorder. So yeah, so let's just establish those things too. I did warn him ahead of time that I had these problems. And, you know, he just reassured me that I didn't have to worry about those things with him at all. And yeah. So when we first decided to, you know, like actually meet up with each other and hang out, he decided that he wanted to come down here to Richmond. He lives in Maryland because that's where I'm from. You should know that if you've been following me for a long time. But he told me that he wanted to come down here and to see me and things of that nature, and to also, you know, get an insurance policy because the company I was working with did the benefits for his bowling association that he was a part of. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm only licensed in Virginia, so I actually, you know, can't come to Maryland to sell it to you. But if you are willing to come down here, then I have no problem with you coming down here. And so, you know, I thought he was just, you know, just going to come for a day or whatever, so we could just kick it. But he was like, I'm going to come straight after class because I want to spend the night with you and sleep next to you. And I was just like, okay, no problem. You know, my crush wants to come sleep next to me. That's, you know, I was geeked. And so, he came down here, we vibed so well, and, you know, we got to know each other, and, you know, I started writing his policy and everything up, and it was just like a really, really good moment for us. Well, at least for me. And so, I had some braids in my hair because I was doing a braid out, so like I was taking my braids out, and, he started recording me, and he had posted me on his Snapchat, and I thought that was like the cutest thing ever for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, so like he recorded me, and then he was telling me how a lot of females were upset about it. And, you know, I didn't really care because, you know, I'm like, my crush likes me back. Whatever, fuck them bitches. I don't care. And so, he eventually, you know, had to go back home because he had to go back to class and everything like that. And so when he, you know, got back to Maryland and everything, he told me that he was involved with a girl. And I was just like, you couldn't tell me that before you drove all the way down here to see me. But then he told me, you know, like he wanted to cut things off with her. And I was just like, well, okay, cut things off, you know, no problem. So this girl was his roommate. And he told me that, you know, they were only strictly like fucking. Like they were nothing serious or anything of that nature. And I was just like, okay, you know, whatever. You can break that off. I'm pretty sure you guys can be very cordial, you know, afterwards because you guys were just fucking. So fast forward to maybe a couple days later when he supposedly cut it off with the girl, he told me that, you know, she was destroying his stuff. She was burning his shoes, and for some reason she cut off his phone. And that was red flag number one that I paid no attention to, and I should have. So like when he told me that like she was burning his stuff and cut off his phone and everything, I was just like, are you sure that you guys are just fucking? Because I don't know about you females, you know, tell me down in the comment section if you would do that to some guy you're just fucking. But I know if I'm just fucking somebody, I'm not gonna go to that length to destroy their stuff unless we're together and I found out that he was cheating. And that's just me, but I mean, whatever. So he told me, you know, like he was gonna, you know, just move out and go back to his father's house. And I was just like, okay, well, I mean, like, how was your rent payment arrangement? Like, did you guys go half, you know, like what was gonna happen? Because at that point, that was like almost the beginning of March. So he was like, well, I paid the full rent, so she's just gonna have to figure it out. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So then he started calling me his girlfriend and everything like that. And like I said before, I wasn't, you know, ready for a relationship, but he was just so persistent on making me his girlfriend. So I was just like, okay, well, you know, if we're really going to do this, you are my last relationship. I don't have time to keep trying to find my husband. Like, that's basically what I said. Like, I don't have time for games. If you're serious, you know, we can really do this. And he was just like, yes, this is, you know, this is what I want. And I was like, okay. And so I was trying to do everything in my power to, like, you know, move back to Maryland, and so, you know, we can be together. But it was so hard to try to find someone to sublease my apartment, and then breaking the lease was just so much. It was so expensive. And so at first he offered to break my lease, and I told him I would never allow you to do that. No, sir. You will not be doing that. So like we were just like basically just trying to figure out ways to get me back home to Maryland and everything like that. So let's fast forward to May, because everything between, you know, February and May, it was basically, you know, just us FaceTiming, us texting, us meeting up for one of his bowling tournaments, meeting up for one of his football games. And actually, let's talk about that football game that I went to. So he had a football game like the ending of April, almost early May. And it was here in Virginia. And so, you know, I told him, you know, I'll come and everything. So while he was, you know, out in the field and everything like that, this lady who sat next to me, she was just like, I've never seen you at one of the football games before, you know, like, who are you here for? And I was just like, oh, I'm here for number 25, you know, basically bragging about my baby, my boyfriend, my boo, my future husband, my future baby father. I was bragging about him. And she was like, oh, okay. And the way she said it kind of raised a red flag to me. And, you know, I never mentioned it to him or anything like that, but it did raise a red flag, and I should have mentioned it to him. But of course I didn't. I thought maybe, you know, like she used to talk to him or whatever the case may be. So I paid no mind to it. So let's skip over that. Let's go into May for, I believe, Mother's Day weekend. So his family was supposed to go on like a trip for Mother's Day. It was supposed to be him and his siblings, his mother's side of the family, all that good jazz. And so he told me that he would not be able to talk to me for that weekend because his mother requested that, you know, no one was on their phones. And the only reason why I did believe that is because, you know, it was Mother's Day. So maybe, you know, like it was like a big family thing. It was, you know, something for them to do stuff or whatever the case may be. So like I kind of understood that, but something just kept telling me that, you know, something was wrong because, you know, like I didn't see like any pictures or anything like that. Oh, let me mention that I only followed him on Instagram and Snapchat. Didn't follow him on Facebook. So, what was I? Oh, yeah. So, like, I didn't see him, you know, like, post anything on Snapchat or post anything on Instagram. So, I was just like, well, maybe he wasn't allowed on his phone, like, at all for the whole weekend to even, you know, post things on social media. So, I let that slide. I didn't really, you know, think about it that much. But when the trip was over and he was able to call me and everything like that, he told me that he did a lot of reflecting and that he was doing a lot of thinking and that he realized that he loved me. And my heart kind of, you know, like it sunk a little bit when he told me that, and I broke down and cried because we didn't spend that much time with each other because, you know, his busy schedule and my busy schedule, so like we really didn't see each other that often. So for him to say that he loved me for the little time that we spent together and how little that we have seen each other, it kind of made me feel happy because I'm the type of person who falls in love or loves someone too quickly, and I'm always usually the first person to say it in a relationship, guaranteed. And this time I didn't. It was someone else who said it. So I took it that, you know, he really loved me. But I wasn't really ready to say it yet because I wasn't sure if I was completely over my ex or not, and if I was able, you know, to really love him. So I explained that to him, and he said, that's completely fine. I just want you to know that, you know, I do love you and that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So yeah. So in between the times that I did see him in May up until last week, we did attempt to have a child. We had 3 attempts to have a child. The first 2 times were just bad timing. It was either like right before my period started or right after my period started. I mean, well, right after my period ended, but not quite, you know, I was fertile or ovulating at the time. So, yeah, so we were attempting to have a child. So, fast forward to last weekend, he told me that he was going to Miami for a family reunion. Now, he told me months ago, and I like to keep dates, and so, when we do plan to see each other, I don't try to plan it for something when he has something else going on. And I do not remember him telling me that he had a family reunion in Miami, because, like, I wouldn't even have suggested, that I would, buy him a ticket to come down here because he was having a lot of car problems. So I was going to buy him a ticket, to spend the weekend with me because I missed him. But he told me that he was going to Miami for a family reunion. Now, like I said, I only follow him on Instagram and Snapchat. So when he was posting stuff, it was not really, like family reunion-y. Like, it was no family reunion shirt. I don't know how family reunions go because I don't go to them because I don't have a family. But like, you would post your family and stuff like that. And when he FaceTimed me, he was like never around, like, his family members and things of that nature. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, if you were at a family reunion, why couldn't I meet your cousins or things like that? It felt very strange that you were around so many family members that you didn't introduce me to them, even if it was through FaceTime. And yeah, that was another red flag that I didn't really pay attention to, and I should have. So that was last weekend. So let's talk about last Tuesday. So if you follow me on social media, I post this guy on my Instagram quite frequently and on my Snapchat quite frequently. But I don't post him on my Facebook. So for some reason, that Monday, something told me to post him on Facebook. And I'm so glad I did. So I posted him on Facebook, I average about maybe like 150 views on my Facebook story. But for some reason that day, leading up to the 24 hours up into that Tuesday, I had almost 300 views. And I was very confused because it was from mostly people I did not follow, because my page is public and my story is public. So I'm just looking at all these people who don't follow me that are looking at my story, and they are mostly female. And I was very confused. So that Tuesday night, we didn't talk that whole day. He, told me good morning. He always sent me a good morning text no matter what. He always said, good morning, beautiful, my beautiful queen, whatever the case may be. He texts me every morning, good morning. And so I didn't hear from him like that whole day. And, I don't like when he don't text me all day, or at least let me know like what's going on. So like, I just sent him a text saying, hey, I hope you had a good day. I hope you have a good class, and that I love you, because I did have love for him. And so maybe no more than 30 minutes after I sent that text, I had got a phone call. Now, I changed my number 2 months ago for several reasons, and only about 20 people have my new number. So when I saw, a 202 number, I thought it was one of my friends who probably changed their numbers. Maybe one of my sisters changed their numbers, or whatever the case may be, because no one else had my number. So I didn't think, like too much of it. So I answered it, and it was a female on the line. And it really caught me off guard, because like I was doing something on my phone, and I'm just like, hello? And she was like, who are you and how do you know Rob? And immediately I knew something was up. And I was just like, oh, I mean, you know, he my boyfriend. We've been dating, you know, for 6 months. Almost, you know, yeah, almost 6 months. And she was like, oh, boyfriend. Oh, I'm his fiance. And I was just like, come again? Fiance? And she was like, yeah, we've been dating for 2 years. And we got engaged in December. And my heart just dropped. I wasn't paying attention at that point to what she was saying to me, any questions that she'd been asking me. I was just so confused. But then, like, I kind of, like, you know, snapped back, and she was just like, did you know about me? And I was just like, no, I didn't know anything about you. And she was like, oh, you don't see me on his Facebook page? I was like, baby, I don't follow him on Facebook. The only 3 people that I knew about from his past that he dealt with was his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriend, and a roommate that he had dumped for me. And she was like, oh, baby, I was the roommate, and you must have been the girl that I've been trying to call. And I was just like, oh, I changed my number. So we hung up the phone because I broke down in tears. Like, I was just so frustrated. But then she started texting me, and she was just like sending me pictures of him, you know, being a fatherly figure to her 2 children that she had. And I was just like, you know, so heartbroken because I'm like, we attempted to have a child. We talked about marriage, but he's already planning a wedding. Well, not necessarily her. She was planning a wedding for them. And so she kept sending me pictures, and I was just like, all right, whatever, Slim. Like, I hope you guys have a good life together. I didn't want to talk anymore. So she called me the next day, and she asked me, well, she called me 2 times, but I was out working, and then, like, she texted me. She was like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure that you didn't buy him anything because I'm about to burn everything that I brought him. And I was just like, no, I mean, I didn't buy him anything. Like, I have, you know, money saved up for me to take him out for his birthday, because his birthday is this month, which is August. And she was like, where were you going to take him? Because I just put $6,000 down for a trip to Puerto Rico. And I was just like, I mean, I didn't know where I was going to take him. I didn't know what we was going to do. But we, you know, we did plan on, you know, going somewhere or doing something for his birthday. And then she told me this heartbreaking story that I'm not going to discuss because that's not my business to tell. But she told me this heartbreaking story about, you know, like what they've been through and everything like that. And I couldn't feel sorry for myself anymore. I felt more sorry for her because of everything that she did for this man, and, you know, everything that they went through, that he had the audacity to act single, you know, and play with someone else's emotions and feelings, knowing that they have some type of personality disorder, deal with depression and everything like that. And I just felt so bad for her that I didn't feel bad for myself anymore. So, you know, after we had our little talk, you know, we hung up the phone, and she told me that, you know, don't worry about him. He's broke, basically, and that he wouldn't have been able to offer you anything, or if me and him, well, if I was pregnant, that he would had nothing to offer our child. So yeah, so that's the time that my boyfriend had a fiance. It hurts. It still kind of hurts, but it doesn't hurt that much because I feel like I didn't invest a lot into this relationship because we were so far apart. Like, it was literally only texting and FaceTiming, and whenever we had time to see each other, that's when, you know, we would see each other. So yeah, that's how my boyfriend had a fiance. Excuse me. If you have a similar story like that or something to that extent where you found your boyfriend cheating, girlfriend cheating, or, you know, something like that, tell me down in the comment section because I like when you guys tell me stories like that. If you like this video and if you think that Rob is a piece of shit, give this video a thumbs up so he can know how many people thinks he is a piece of shit. And what am I forgetting? Don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. If you are not already, all my names are always down in the description box. And as always, I love you guys, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.